Today I will expound a horror music and spine-chilling film called We Summon the Darkness. In Indiana in July 1988, punk admirer besties Alexis, Val and Bev go on an excursion to watch their favorite bands perform at a metal concert. As they stop at a corner store, Bev produces a paper article with the title Teen Slain in New Satanic Killings and gets frightened by it, while Alexis ridicules her. On the counter, the station proprietors pays attention to their religious broadcast concerning how individuals who pay attention to heavy metal are hellbound, making the entire circumstances abnormal. Back in the car, the threesome additionally find out about the rampant slaughter related to satanic cult around the country. Bev gets excessively worn out on hearing it, so she changes the station. All of a sudden, a blue vehicle overtakes them and tosses a milkshake at their windshield. They pull over by the roadside and clean their vehicle, feeling extraordinarily vexed. Ultimately, they show up at the show. As expected, many individuals have turned up to join in. The trio concur on imbibing certain beverages, recording some Dutch courage to have fun. Prior to attending the concert, the young ladies describe the blue van from earlier, whose travelers threw a milkshake at their vehicle. They devised a mean scheme to get their requital. Val tosses a bunch of little firecrackers inside, disturbing the three young men, Ivan, Kovacs and Mark. They hastily move out of the vehicle to see the young ladies snickering at their difficulty. Understanding that the young ladies are simply getting their vengeance, Ivan makes the ladies an olive branch by offering them some booze. Those women readily receive the beers, framing an unlikely amity. The gathering speaks more with regards to their adoration for music, also the groups that will perform at the show. Amid their conversation, Bev takes notes a book about sinister ceremonies inside the van. Detecting that something is queer about the young men, she overlooks this. Furthermore, they spend time with them anyways. As the concert begins, they all have fun moving and singing together. After the concert, Alexis proposes that the night is still young and welcomes the three young men to her dad's manor. The young men agree to the idea of spending night with these beauteous women, so they accept the caring invitation and arrive at the property. On their appearance, Alexis shows them around a portion of the room and gives a concise tour of the entire spot. They all choose to have a beverage by the pit fire in the backyard, while they keep talking about upcoming musical crews. For the entire evening, Bev begins to act oddly and out of her personality. At that point, when Alexis asks her, she just answers by saying that she has never done anything like this before. Alexis consoles her that all will be fine as long as she simply takes cues from her. Bev is persuaded to blend with the stranger blokes and head outside. Later, she cashes into Mark, spilling her drink. Mark offers her his coat, where she discovers a folding knife inside. She strolls away, feeling upset and asking why he is casually keeping a sharp weapon with him. She communicates her interest to Alexis, yet she advises her stage companion to unwind and enjoy the night. After toasting to having an unforgettable night, Alexis starts a round of Never Have I Ever, and they all give giggles and trade anecdotes about interesting events they have attempted. Abruptly, Alexis says, "Never have I ever drunk somebody's beverage." None of them takes a shot at first. However, Ivan and Kovacs are surprised to see the three young ladies take one in a long stretch of quietness. The young ladies concede that they drank their drinks ahead of time. The young men then, one by one, pass out on the lawn. As the young ladies egg them up, Ivan, Mark and Kovacs observe themselves to be tied to a chair in a room loaded up with candles. Val and Alexis keep taunting the young men in a threatening and sinister way, while Bev remains behind them, noticing the entire episode as it is her first time. The three young men frantically request them to let them go while shouting for help. However, it demonstrates to be inadequate. It is unfair that the three young ladies are individuals from a gathering called the Daughters of the Dawn. Their members are liable for a copious amount of homicides surrounding the country. Every week, a particular crew is appointed to execute fierce wrongdoings to exercise what they believe in. They further clarify that the reason behind it is to spread dread among the country and send more people to join their religion. At that point, when Mark asks more basic inquiries concerning the religion, Alexis turns out to be more offensive in clarifying and rational of their assemblage. In the interim, Ivan has had enough of her huge discourse. He keeps on disparaging their convictions, saying that it is out and out silly and preposterous. Alexis becomes incensed and stabs him in the neck, causing him to drain blood to death. Then she approaches Mark, forcing him to ask for pardoning while she holds him at knife point. That moment, as Alexis was going to wound him, Bev holds her back, saying that they need to discuss something pressing. Val and Alexis reluctantly follow her out of the room, giving the two young men a chance to think of an arrangement to get away. In the washroom, Bev tells the two of them that she needs to be the person who kills Mark and Kovacs. Alexis concurs, so she delivers the instruction on how to execute them. Be that as it may, the two young men momentarily get away and track down a protected space to hide, so that they could spare more time. However, as they hear the trio approaching, they get trapped inside the pantry. The young ladies are uninformed that the young men are concealing right behind the butlery. Inside the pantry, Mark keeps an eye on Kovacs' injuries, which he got while attempting to escape from the young ladies. In the interim, to accelerate the course of their plan, Alexis orders Bev to look for some apparatus so they could break the door. She unwillingly abides after Alexis imposes the aggravation on her. Shaken by all that she has witnessed, Bev tries to best her keep up with the self-control while getting tools from a nearby storeroom. In the house, commotion is going to begin again, and Alexis discovers aerosol and sprays it by the door, making Mark and Kovacs cough and experience issue in breathing. Abruptly, they hear somebody show up at the house and right away halted their action to discover who the person is. Unexpectedly, her stepmother Susan arrived at the house to grab a passport that she needed for her excursion the following day. Prior to leaving, she informs Alexis that she called the police because she saw a peculiar blue van stopped and the lights on, believing that somebody may have intruded, but understands that it was only a false caution. As she is departing, Susan hears broken bottles inside the pantry and realizes that something is continuing, so she attempts to advance there to find out all alone. Alexis over again says that nothing is there, yet her activities appear to be defensive, making Susan more skeptical. Susan finds Ivan's cadaver in the living room. This drives Alexis to take a deadly course of activity and instantly wounds her. This screaming makes Val dismayed for quite a while, as slaying an additional individual wasn't part of their plan. To worsen the things, the cops are approaching. Meanwhile, Bev is at the shed, incapable of confronting the mayhem in the house. She comes across certain papers that contain property titles claimed by Alexis' father, John Henry, and a hefty amount of cash. In the pantry, Mark and Kovacs decide to fight the girls with broken wine bottles. However, Alexis and Val use the spray to set fire by the door. This puts the young men in a significantly more defenseless position, because they are trapped inside. By the time, a cop named Sheriff Dembrowski shows up at the house as a response to Susan's call, and Alexis attempts to drive him away by talking in poetish manner. Nevertheless, Dembrowski ends distracted by her magnetism and alibis, so she wants Alexis to give an ID. However, she escapes to the mansion. He pursues her into the house and stumbles upon satanic symbols and Ivan's corpse in the house. The scene gets him in complete skepticism and fright, making him more watchful of his environment. Subsequent to hearing commotions from the butlery, he tracks down harmed Kovacs and Mark, who sought for help, but Dembrowski doesn't trust them, placing them in handcuffs. Unbeknownst to him, Val sneaks up from behind him, takes his weapon and shoots him dead, making the two young men enter the pantry again. After discovering that Val killed Dembrowski, Alexis blows a gasket and wants the firearm from her, yet she declines, making them fight. As they battle about the weapon, Bev shows up out of the blue and compromises her friends with an electric motor. She tells them that she will let the men go regardless of their conflict. Her companions let Bev know that they are practicing the Lord's work. However, Bev has had enough of every one of the falsehoods, uncovering that Alexis' father, one of the religious headmen, is embezzling the donation given by the individuals, rather than building shelters which he guaranteed. He expenses the cash on buying luxurious houses like one they are in, while Alexis considers Bev a lost sheep for not thinking straight and partaking in their action. Val sneaks up on her and she figures out how to defeat her. Enraged, Bev incurs wounds on both of her companions, utilizing the trolling motor as Mark and Kovacs restore the metal to leave the room. They put their focus on Bev and assault her. This permits Alexis and Val to flee when the two boys understand that Bev is taking their side. Little by little, Kovacs' condition deteriorates and he won't last longer except he is brought to a hospital. Able to get out, Mark gets a knife to recover the vehicle keys from Alexis, while Bev helps blood-soaked Kovacs place in a safe corner and deal with her friends afterwards. At that point, when Kovacs sees vehicle's light from outside, he went outside with his endeavor. There he discovers John Henry, the pastor of the Daughters of the Dawn. and also Alex's father. At first, John Henry starts an easygoing communication with Kovacs, who is completely devastated. Then he advises Kovacs to go to the vehicle, inform the cops, and give him the weapon. Kovacs follows his guidelines, yet unexpectedly recognizes him as the renowned pastor. John Henry learns the look of recognition and brutally shoots him dead. In the darkness inside the home, the final individuals try their best to be as silent as they could, which is their instrument for staying alive. It was a grave situation for each party, as each of their movement and sound is significant. At that point, when Bev finds the light switch, Val sneaks up on her again to hinder her from turning the light back on. With no choice left, they thrash each other in spite of their companionship, and Bev sets Val's hair on fire with hairspray, giving her a way of turning the switch on. Afterwards, Mark figures out to grab his car keys in the bedroom. However, Alexis picks fight with him, causing a major battle inside the room. Out of the blue, Kovacs makes it back inside the house, where Bev comes to save his skin. Before he kicks the bucket, he implores Bev to save Mark as his last act of respecting their companionship. In a question of minutes, John Henry shoots Mark, who is stifling Alexis in the bedroom. John Henry chides his little daughter for not handling the circumstance, costing more bodies for him to conceal. While shedding tears, Alexis clarifies that it ain't her mistake, yet her father says that they need to make a few more sacrifices to get out of the hazard she has caused the congregation. John Henry struggles to throttle Alexis when Bev appears from behind and hits, causing him lose his sense. Subsequent to saying thanks to Bev for saving her life, Alexis still acts hysterically and strangles her, returning the favor. Significantly, Bev shoves her right out of the window as an action of self-protection prior to coming to Mark's rescue. The two of them escape the house, leaving each of the deceased behind without a single thought. The two leap into the vehicle and don't even take a second to behold the scene that surrounded the place. Amazingly, they see Alexis valiantly standing on their path demanding for egregious death. Bev has no choice left but to run her over. The next day, news reports about the occurrence are displayed on TV. John Henry, who survived the ordeal, turned himself into the casualty, asserting that his daughter Alexis joined a cult coterie known as We Summon the Darkness, causing everything to go downhill. Later, at the same gas station they halted, Bev accumulates some medical supplies to watch over her injuries and sees the shopkeeper watching the news. Prior to leaving, she reminds him not to believe all the things he sees, yet the old man simply gets confounded by the statement. Back in the vehicle, Bev and Mark leave the town and the intense darkness that descended on them. Well, that's all for today. Thank you.